Commenting with Google Plus sucks. But commenting with Reddit is awesome. So head on over to Reddit and leave a comment on this video. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Welcome back for part 2 of Sunday Role-Playing Women's Group on the Jessa channel. And you're hanging out here with me, Jessa, and Darian, and Jessica, and Siri, and Stephanie, and we are going into the roleplay portion of Dungeon World. I also, if the creators are watching, want to thank the creators of Dungeon World. 2 gentlemen whose names I've completely forgotten. Stephanie, do you know them?
Yep, Sage Flatora and
Adam Colbell.
Adam Colbell.
Yep. Thank you. Sage and Adam, thank you for making this amazing game so that we could have these, wonderful players come together and co-create a story. And I'm really very grateful to you, so thank you.
Also give a shout out to Vincent Baker, who made the Apocalypse world that Dungeon World is based off of.
Thank you.
And also the late Gary Gynax.
Oh yeah.
If we didn't have him, we would have no role-playing games.
Yeah. We would all be sitting around this invisible table going, why are we sitting here? What are we doing? But now we have...
I would posit that we would still be telling stories.
We would definitely be telling stories, but we wouldn't be having this cool way.
Yeah. We just wouldn't have the dice rolls to make it, oh, what's happening now?
Right.
Exactly. All right, so this is a map, dear viewers, that I have made. I'm proud of it, so I'm going to show it off for a second. Because I made it, and you guys might be thinking, and the whole point of doing this show was, first of all, to show you the fun of what it is to roleplay. That it is safe, that it is fun, that it is a storytelling medium. It's not about, weird, creepy stuff that you may have heard of back in the 80s. No. It is basically a way to tell stories together. But I have, you might be thinking, well, I can't, I've got a group of people, I don't know how to do it. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm not lying, this is my fifth time game mastering. That's it. 5th. I decided that I wanted to play with a bunch of women. I had a dream, and I didn't know how to make it happen, and so I figured I was just going to do it. So I found Dungeon World, which is fairly easy to learn. And I had people come to my group and take pity on me, and I told them I was new, and they were nice, and they said, sure. And then I had people like Stephanie come in, and Stephanie has been playing Dungeon World since the very beginning. She was in the testing groups, so she knows it backwards and forwards, and she helps me. But it's really not a very hard game to learn, so don't think that you can't do this. You can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it. And the fun thing about Dungeon World is that you really only need to be a couple steps ahead of the players, if that, basically. And I know... Not even. Sometimes I'm about 3 steps behind, just going, hold up, ladies! I got it! Quick, I need some orcs!
Where's my loot table?
Over the break,
that's what you're gonna have to keep up a lot of the time.
I'm gonna have to keep up with Snick, because Snick is like, I'm stealing something. What do I steal? And I'm like, oh shoot, quick, I need something. A green gem of magic, blah blah blah. Okay. Anyway,
no. You tell me, Snick. What did you steal?
And Snick will say, exactly, that's exactly it. And a lot of Dungeon World is basically, I turn to the players and they say, well, what do I do here? And I'm like, I don't know. What did you do? So you tell me. So yeah, it is co-creative story, but I have a lot of tools, which I will be showing you along the way as to how I did it. The first thing I did was I made this map. And I just whipped this up in the last 5 minutes when I, during the break. And this represents where we are. In the previous episode, which was not recorded, this is the first recorded episode, we were on the Lady of Shadows, which is a huge ship. And let me take you back to the viewer only. I'm going to take you back to the landing page here and move you here to 150%. And you can see some of the places where we are we have been. These pictures are taken from DeviantArt, so I really want to thank the people who have produced those pictures. And we get them from all over the internet. But if you see a picture and want credit for it, please let me know, and I'll put it down in the description. In any case, we are in the Lady of Shadows, which is a huge ship, and it's captained by one Captain Harlock. As we approached, we are on the Black Sea, which is an underground large sea. And the sea is not well traveled. In fact, we're the only ship in the entire ocean that we know of. It's a ship where sailors do not go because the seas are rumored to be very dangerous. They're filled with giant piranhas and other sea monsters of disreputable ilk. We are
Not to mention the dragon cultists.
The dragon cultists who have found a way, with their boats, they managed to avoid and they know several secrets for taming the piranhas, but sometimes yet they still end up in the water singing lustily. One of the ways that you can train the piranhas not train them, but stop them from eating you immediately is by singing, which is sometimes difficult to do in the huge waves of the underground dark sea. We are headed our first stop is towards Ulfar Keep. This area right here that I am pinging here on my map for you. And that is where we hope to find information about the dragon cultists. Not the dragon cultists, the dragon's egg, which are being hidden by the cultists. We have with us two cultists that we rescued, one from drowning, and our barbarian has possibly adopted another one. Also, Ulfar Keep is on the edge of Black Marsh, a very thick old trees, moss, lots of flies and bugs and whatever else we decide to make it in there. And then further on the map you'll see here that the Black Marsh is also on the edge of the vast wilds, then is further out onto this peninsula. And after that we don't know what's there because we are creating the map as we go. I'm going to take us back to the sandy beach map that I have created here. And I'm going to put this at about 70% so we can see the whole map. And I'm now going to describe to the women. You have a wet and bedraggled, irritated dragon cultist male with you. He is covered in a kind of, I guess tattoos would be the best way to put it. And he is wearing just a short loincloth type skirt, some sandals, and he is standing over here. I'll put him on the screen in just a minute. You also have another cultist standing next to you, a female with long hair. I am going to head on over here and grab an image for you to show her, and also put her on the map. She is also covered in tattoos. She's wearing a short kind of top thing that keeps her cool, I guess you'd say. And she is standing shyly next to our let's see, Makino, our barbarian, right here. And she's looking adoringly but fearfully at Makino. Kind of how you would look if you were a teenage girl, for example, who had a terrible crush on Mr. T.
I pity the fool.
I pity the fool. And then Mr. T suddenly appeared in your bedroom, unbeknownst to you. You'd have no idea where he came from. And you find him deeply attractive, but you do not understand what he is doing in your world. So, with that, you guys also have 2 casks of liquor, which were saved off of the ship. And for sake of ease, we're going to simply disregard our other characters who weren't there, but I do say thank you very much for them for being here last week. And also, this brown area here represents a kind of pier over that's jutting out into the sea. And ahead of you, you see a bunch of rocky stones, a place for a campfire, and a path which leads upwards. This path that I'm pinging for you right here leads upwards. And you will need to explore further to find out where it goes. So I will ask you, while I'm now looking up pictures here, tell me what you do.
Do we have the captain with us?
The captain, oh yes, Captain Harlock is with you, and I will also put his in fact, let me do him first. I'll put him down first.
Is he still throwing up?
He looks green in the he looks green in the gills. He looks irritated, and he looks deeply happy to be on land, and he's muttering something under his breath about having never gotten seasick in his life, having not understood this, and being very, very ashamed and irritable. And and that "Are you there?" that just popped up that you guys saw on the screen, it happens with Google Chat, and it's just because we're not using the chat, we're using Roll20. Let me find, I'm trying to find a good token for him. And do not mute me. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm looking for a pirate here to represent our captain. Because the game is played on a kind of virtual tabletop, the women will move their tokens around to show me where they are. And I will put tokens down that represent NPCs, like Captain Harlock. And I will open this up, and I will put his name in. And then I will show him as a template. I also put NPCs in a kind of brownish color for all NPCs. And I put an aura around them. This is for you guys, the viewers, to be able to see when I'm quickly referring to a character or not. And there's Captain Harlock. He's a little bit big, so let's make him smaller there. And there he is.
A giant
a giant sea pirate. So while I'm pulling this up, go ahead and let me know what you guys are doing. You're waterlogged. You're a little bit scared. All of you, I think, were in the water except for Makino, our barbarian, whom you still, I imagine, have a headache. I'm not sure if you are still from that
the order of the head.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I'm going to give us. I'm going to let you know that the weather is a bit windy, so you're going to hear some wind howling there, and also, I thought I had some sea waves here, but let me get that for a second. So this is basically what it is as the game master, is that you have a lot of different things that you need to be doing at once while the characters are describing what they're doing. So you have to be an extremely good multitasker. Exactly. And let's also get some sound effects and ocean. And while I'm doing that, go ahead and describe what you are doing, ladies.
Well, Thistle is walking away from the rather odd acting female barbarian. Well, not our barbarian, but the cultist, excuse me. And she's sick of being wet, and so is Kat, so she's starting to look around for maybe some twigs and leaves to start a fire with.
And Snick is checking her pack to make sure that nothing got waterlogged, that the items I procured are still safely inside. Shaking myself off, yet feeling rather proud of my surfing efforts.
And feel free to talk amongst yourselves as to what you are doing, what you have to say to each other, anything of that nature. And here are some beach waves for you there.
Are there any dead piranha for dinner?
There are no dead piranha, but perhaps your cultist who lives here on this island may have some way of knowing.
Hmm.
Do we need?
So I turn to the cultists that we have acquired. And I address just the woman because I have very little use for this male. He's kind of weak and not terribly awesome. Well, he needed to be saved, so you know. And so I turn to her and I kind of say, "My name is Makino."
He looks at you and he says,
Her?
he looks at, are you talking to the her or him?
I'm talking to her.
Okay, sorry.
I pretty much just dismissed him.
Okay.
Just out of basically, he belongs to her, she belongs to me.
Good. So I have found a woman to represent her here, and I'm going to put her up in just a second. And also, by the way, I need a name, a dragon cultist type of name, something that's, you know, kind of rough sounding. Any ideas for that, ladies?
Tequila.
Say that.
Onali.
Onali. Tequila.
Gonna reset that.
Okay, hold on one second. Spell Tequila. I heard that one first.
Tequila.
Like tequila, but with an S?
I got it. I got it. I've spelled it. Okay, and I'm going to put Tequila down here for you. I need to find... What do you guys suggest I search for in the tokens to find a female cultist? I'm not sure what to search for. Native...
Just search cultist.
Okay. Cultist. Let's see what that whips us up. Oh, that's interesting. A lot of interesting cultists here. I'm trying to find somebody kind of... That's not really what I'm looking for. These are scary looking cultists. Most cultists are kind of scary looking. I'm gonna search for just search for female and see what I come up with. I'm also going to put your cat down as well too.
Yay.
Ah, I found her. Come get back here. I just saw her and then she disappeared.
Yes,
here she is.
we type chat as well as voice chat, so we don't talk over each other when our characters are doing multiple things at the same time.
And I am not on the chat screen right now, but I will pull up the chat screen for the viewers and they will be able to see what you guys are saying. And the chat is a way for people to role play in the background, you know, like she had said, for whoops. I knew that was going to happen. I just slammed my microphone. My microphone is just in front of me and kind of blocking my keyboard. But it has to be here in order for you guys to hear me. And it sounds much better than my headset microphone. Okay, so there is Sakina. And Makino, I am going to give you control. I'm going to give you control of Makina, of Sakina, so you can move her around where she is next to you. And I also have her image here, which I will put up, which I just got here. Got it. And I'm calling her Sakina, and I meant to say Sakila, but anyway, whatever's coming out. Sakina's good. One moment, please, ladies. So the action is a little bit slow right now because we're setting up a new location, so it just takes a little bit of time before we can start really moving about and describing what we found and that kind of stuff. And there is Sakina. And, yep. And I'm going to make her small and up in the corner here, so we have her as a reference. And then I will move her over to the... I will now move her, copy her, over to the other landing page and fix her later. Okay. So, we have all of our players here. Sakina, and I can put down the other cultists, which I'll do in a minute. And, so someone mentioned that they were going around and finding wood. There are small pieces of wood around on the ground, and there's enough definitely to gather amongst the grass and whatnot to make a fire. The wood is mostly dry. Sakina turns to you, Makino, and she says shyly, holding her head down, she says, and her beautiful blonde hair falls over her face, and she says, she says, my name is Sakina. My partner's name here, this man who is normally quite talkative, is Gauvain. And Gauvain, who is about to appear in a minute, looks sullen and irritated, and looking around at the women, and he says, "What are your intentions with me?"
We have some intentions.
A little halfling has just run up and grabbed him and is about to start tying him up.
Oh, really?
It appears that Snikt is going to play a game with you. You should humor her. She has many fine games.
And he looks at you, Snick, and he's looking quite dubious about this. And here he is.
Thistle's gonna...
Say that again? You're gonna what?
Thistle's gonna jump on top of him too, try to help out with tying him up before he tries to feed us to more piranha.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he is he's a pretty good sized man, about say 6 feet or so, pretty strong, and he sees a halfling looking quite devious and coming at him, and then he also sees a very ranger looking woman with a cape coming at him, and he is standing right here, and I'm going to resize him just a little bit and move him around, and he is here. So he's standing, let's say right there. So you and Snick go up to him, and he says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And he starts batting his hands at you and kicking and saying, "Sakina, tell these women, these usurpers to our island to back off."
I look at him. You are not in charge here, puny man.
And he says, "What do you intend? I will not allow you to tie me up without at least speaking of your intentions. What is your point doing here on our island?"
We are here to regain the dragon egg which you have stolen.
He looks mute and he says, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Liar.
You will tell us in due time. Asana, how are you coming with that fire?
Osana, where are you right now? You have moved off somewhere. Oh, there you are. You're over here gathering stuff. So, and this is the Roll20 window is very small, viewers, so I have to sometimes scroll around to see where people have wandered off to. But, Osana, you find a number of branches and just quite a bit of dry branches underneath the undergrowth in order to make a fire. One of you guys
going off into the forest was after I was foraging. I went to the location where the campfire was and noticed that it had already been used recently. So that's why I'm kind of off in search of if anyone else is here.
Okay. So, Asana, you see numerous tracks around here. They all look human. The occasional wood, beach animal, I don't know, things that look, you don't see anything too out of place. You don't see any big dragon tracks. You do see a lot of tracks moving on this trail up here, and I'm going to hold down my shift key to zoom you over there. You see in that way. And now the scale here, Osana, is that this is about where you are is about a 10-minute walk up the hill, so it's a little bit of a ways that you are away from the rest of the party. And you're far enough away that it might be a little bit difficult over the wind for them to hear you, so you may want to consider going back down the track, because you don't know who's up here. Captain Harlock wanders over to this area here and he sits down. Now, each of you, do either you or Snick have adventuring bags? And if you do, is there a rope in your adventuring bag? In other words, you can pull anything that you need to adventure out of your bag. And to explain this to the audience, I'll show you a character sheet here. Let's see.
Snick, do you...
And Siri, you may want you're going out a little bit. Your internet's going out a little bit, so you may want to. I don't know if you've already lowered your.
Yeah, let me try that.
And I'm going to lower mine too, just once
Is that better?
I don't need. I think so. We'll see in a little bit. Okay, what was I doing here? Oh yeah. So to the viewer, adventuring gear is a neat feature. Instead of in other tabletop playing games, you have to carefully pick from a very long list of all the things you want to have, and if you forget something, you're out of luck if you don't have it in your bag. The way it works in Dungeon World is that you get adventuring gear, basically. This is the things that you can choose from here. For this particular character, adventuring gear has 5 uses, and you have 5 times that you can pull out of your bag whatever you might need in that situation. For example, Osana, who's out looking for wood and checking for traps, might think that and when she brings the wood back, she's going to need to start a fire. So she can reach into her adventuring gear, she has adventuring gear, and she can pull out a flint, for example. Or she can pull out a torch, but the torch wouldn't be lit, so she'd still have to pull out some sort of way to light it. When you use your adventuring gear, you mark 1 use from your adventuring gear. After you've used all 5 adventuring gear, your bag is empty and you have to buy more at a store the next time you're in a village or a town where there's a general merchant or a store of some sort. Snick and Thistle here, I had to move you to see your thing. Oops, sorry.
Snick has just pulled out some thief rope. This
Okay.
thief rope is very, very good for tying people up, because say you go into someone's house, they kind of find you there, and well, especially as a halfling, you kind of need a way to stop them so you can continue what you were doing.
Exactly. Okay, so you go ahead and pull out that adventuring rope, Snick, and pull, thief's rope, which is extra strong and really good for tying up the hands and very difficult to slip out of. And mark 1 use off of your adventuring gear.
Yep, done that.
And Thistle, do you help Snick to tie this man up? And be aware that he is a good fight, so you guys are really going to have to bear down on him. And also, Thistle, let me pull out your cat as well, too.
Yes, my cat.
Describe your cat's markings.
It looks like an ocelot, so it looks kind of almost exactly like this, where it's kind of like a little itty-bitty leopard, sort of.
Okay, I'm going to put down 2 choices. And let me know, that one's not quite the same. Actually, here's 3 choices. There's a black one.
Like the calico. I'll take the calico. No,
Okay.
actually the black cat, so it can blend in better.
Okay,
Because it's good at stealth. That's one of its traits.
awesome. And what Siri is using for her character is she has got as a ranger, she can have a companion animal, and that's what she's using. And I'm going to color your companion animal the same color as your token, Siri, so that there. So there's Cat, and I will make her a little bit smaller, and then I will also give you control of her.
Thank
Or
you.
him. Siri and Thistle. Wow, that wind is making me feel like we're really on a beach here. Okay, so is Thistle helping? I mean, is your cat helping out at all with this process? And Makino, what are you doing with Sakina?
My cat might be chucked at this guy's face if he acts too aggressive, so cat might be helping.
Okay,
So-
and do you tell him that? because the guy is still struggling, and he's got his arms, you've got his arms kind of tied up a little bit, but he's still struggling. And he looks at you and he says, "Don't think that you can hold me." And he looks directly at you, Thistle, and then he looks right at you and says, "Puny halflings."
I ignore his banter and try to continue tying him up for a moment.
Okay, so describe how you've tied him up, and then where do you put him after you've tied him up?
On the ground.
Just on the ground? Okay.
We're kind of waiting for Asana to get back with the firewood.
Okay, Osana.
Are we tying his legs as well as his hands?
Good point. I think I would have only tied his hands because I wouldn't have been thinking of it. I don't do this every day.
Well,
Snip might.
No, you see, you don't just bind hands. You wrap the rope around them.
Mm-hmm. And then
You just tie it around them, so his arms are tied right at his side. His legs are tied together. It's just like tied around him.
Oh, I see. You just tied it. You just mummy tied him.
Yeah, mummy tied.
I got him. Okay.
A little halfling running around him with the rope.
If he's tied up, I'll sit on him.
Okay, so he is now tied up. His hands are at his sides. He's tied tight. And he's lying on the ground looking up at the sky and just cursing a blue streak. At this moment, Sakina looks very scared, and she says to Makino, "Do you have plans to treat me in the same unhospitable way?"
Of course not. You are mine now.
What does that mean?
It means you are mine.
But does that mean that we are now going to make home together? And she looks her eyes are very wide. Or does it mean that I am just your servant? And then she looks somewhat sad.
It means you belong to me. I have conquered you. I treat my belongings very well.
She says, well, I will have to ask permission from my father. And Gauvain says, "You know he'll never give it! The minute that help comes..."
I have conquered you. Your father has nothing to say in this.
Sakina says, "As you wish," and she looks quite shy. Now, you'll notice that Sakina is carrying a knife on her shoulder, on her belt, a small knife, very wicked-looking blade. It can definitely do some damage. And it's not a dagger. It's definitely kind of like a hunting knife or something of that nature. She also leans over and she says, "I am very good with a bow." And she says, "But I don't see why we should help you. You have tied up my companion and my lifelong childhood friend, Gauvain, and you're here to take you're here to take something of value." And she pauses, like she almost let out a secret there. And Osana, I'm so glad you could move your token finally. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
And Osana, you can tell me if you wish to pull anything out of your adventuring bag to help you with the making of the fire.
Well, I think I lost all the twigs that I was gathering.
You did.
That would be you, huh?
I thought I
You
heard
guys-
something out in the forest, and I kind of lost track of them. So
This episode is presented in parts. To see the next part, click the playlist annotation at the top of the video. If the next part has not been uploaded yet, it will be tomorrow. So if you want to see it, subscribe. Get every new Jessa channel video right in your email inbox. Subscribe, then from your YouTube homepage, click Manage Subscriptions, then check Email with new uploads. And thanks for watching.